Sup, ho bags, this is your captain speaking, letting you know that if you don't rate the shit out of this video, we're gonna go down. My entire channel is gonna crash, I'm just gonna delete it. So let's set the bar pretty high. How about 10,000, or I'll visit each of your homes and skin your family pet. And it won't be fun. You won't enjoy it. I don't know how I went from captain of some sort of ship or plane to horrible animal mutilator, but let's just get past that whole thing, alright? If you want to send these questions and topics to me, feel free to, link in the description. But anyway, let's get on to the show. Calling it a show makes it sound so pretentious. But anyway, first off, the kid from UP. Talk about small Christian high schools. Well, I went to a small Christian high school, and I am completely in favor of parents having the freedom to send their children to whatever kind of education they see fit. But what I'm not in favor of is being fed false information at school, because if I could show just a video of my biology class when I was a junior in high school and upload it to my channel, every one of you would be laughing hysterically about how false and how ridiculous the things I was being taught was. And it was a while after that until I actually took the time to independently research and figure this shit out on my own. And I still know plenty of my friends who've yet to do this research, and so they're still living in a blind world where these things are just, you know, oh, we're 6,000 years old, and Noah's Ark, that's pretty real, and it's just like a bunch of ridiculous things like that. And so that is wrong. That's damaging. It is not a good thing to feed children false information just because that's more comforting to their parents, to make sure they don't leave their worldview. So I'm completely in favor of the parents having the right to send their children to whatever kind of school they see fit, but I am not for the freedom to feed your children false information. That's almost like I can send my kid to a school, and at that school they learn addition and subtraction completely wrong, and so the rest of their life is going to be damaged by that. They're going to have to relearn all these things, and that's way less damaging than ideological lies and stuff like that. So in addition, it was really, really cliquey. You know, it was difficult to make friends because everybody was so kind of, I don't want to say like it wasn't because they were preppy. It was just because we all were in such a small group of people that you knew everybody's foibles and you knew who was doing what with who, and it was just really easy to make enemies. And in addition to that, the teachers, some of them were just ridiculously strict and things like that, and just some of the stuff we talked about. And we had weekly chapels where they would like want you to sing songs and stuff about Jesus, which was, I mean, I never really took part in that, but I mean, we all had to be there. It was mandatory. You couldn't leave. And it was really damaging to me in a lot of ways, just because of how much they taught me that immediately after leaving the school, or not even after leaving the school, I mean, like, even in high school, I was getting to the realization, like, yeah, this is pretty silly, like, I don't really believe this stuff, I don't want to have to be implicated with this anymore and forced to pretend, and so it was pretty damaging in a lot of ways psychologically, and I would hope that parents would realize, maybe if there's a parent out there listening and they're debating whether or not to send their child to a private or public school, if it's a non-religious school, that's fine, but you don't want to be sending your child somewhere, even if it's a religious school, that's fine. I'm fine with the religion. Just make sure that they're not diluting your child's perception of reality with falsity. You know, that's what I'm saying about that, okay? So I hope that clears that up a little bit. And now something a little bit lighter. Sinvidius. Oh, Jesus, come on, man. I didn't read it. I was just assuming the next thing would be lighter. Talk about ugly vaginas. I hate bitches with saggy lips. They need to cut off some of that extra shit. I mean, goddamn, dude. Like this, I know what I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to say that every, woman is as beautiful as every other woman, because I'd be like saying every man's penis is equally beautiful to every other penis, which I'm not really sure that I can ever see myself viewing a penis as beautiful. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, talking about ugly vaginas, like, that was like if a girl would message me on one of these videos and be like, talk about ugly penises with too much foreskin or with not enough foreskin that look weird and are curved. They need to fix that shit. It's like, they really can't help it. They can't help what their body looks like. Like, if it's something like your weight and you're fat and, like, you say, I'm unattracted to fat people, like, I'm less offended by that, because people can, to an extent, control their weight. Like, I'm like working on losing weight right now just because I want to be more fit and in shape for when I go to the beach in a month or so. But I don't know why that was brought up. But I mean, I don't want to talk about ugly vaginas. You know, it's kind of mean. It's kind of rude to just go off and say that just because of something they can't control is there, that you really hate it. And that's fine that you have your personal preference. That's fine. But saying that they should cut off some of that shit, like, come on, bro. That's not a good way to be looking at this stuff. I mean, if you're in the proximity of a vagina, you should be thanking yourself anyway. Like, hey, yo, it doesn't really matter. Not paying attention to it that much anyway. And to say they need to cut it off, that's like, imagine if a girl was like, you have too much ball sack. Get rid of that. Like, just cut some of that off and then sew it back up. Like, no, that's not how it works. It's not a freaking piece of fat on a steak. Like, Jesus Christ, man. But Of course, I know you're probably just saying this in jest, so talking about ugly vaginas, just making me way more uncomfortable than I would think, you know, because it's a pretty safe place for me, because if there are female viewers out there, I am 90% sure that there are, like, just a dozen of them, you know, so if you're a female viewer, post some pics for proof below, but not of vaginas or anything like that, for show, of course. So, man, so learn to love a little bit more vag than what you've been exposed to, Sinvidius, and your life is going to improve drastically. It is all pink on the inside, my friend. And next person. I wanted Taco talk about the bus monitor video where she got bullied. This must be like a big video because I have not seen this, and I should probably get into it. So I will get back to that later once I research it, Mr. Taco, and I will answer that just for you. The Real Juicy 412 talk about douchey atheists on Reddit. I used to go to the Reddit atheism section every so often, but it's pretty much gotten to the point where it's just a bunch of lame jokes and dumb memes, and none of it is actual content. I like watching debates about that kind of stuff, or debates about politics or stuff like that, which is why I don't really look at the politics section or the religion sections on Reddit anymore, because it's all so horribly biased, because it's user-driven, and whatever the hive mind thinks is what's going to get promoted to the top. And I think I can understand completely the douchey aspect of it, because like just the stupid stuff like, oh, Jesus is so dumb and he's not real and like that's stupid, that's dumb. I'm against that because it doesn't actually convince anyone of any argument, because guess what? There's no freaking argument there to see, and you're not going to change anyone's mind like that. Like I can understand that if you mock it enough, someone might feel really uncomfortable and then go research it on their own and come to their own conclusion. But that's not the way you want to get people to accept your belief. You don't want to mock them into oblivion until they eventually just do the research on their own. You want to be nice. You want to present it to them in a cogent, clear way, and then try and use logic and reason to get to them. And if that doesn't work, then that's all you can do, you know, because if they're going to ignore your arguments and not go where the evidence, is leading, then that burden is on them. You know, you can't force it. But just being a dick about it and just being one of those like hyper-aggressive atheists on Reddit, that's really just not a good way to do it, okay? It's just not a good way to do it. So that's how I feel about that. Next, Jesus Christ, so many things about someone on a bus. This must be a big story. Rape Squad Killers. I'm pretty sure that is something that Woody's Gamertag is doing. Maybe. I don't know. I don't even know. I think there may be some t-shirts about that. I'll have to look into it. Sorry. Fill me in the comment section, please. Archcept, or Archacept. People who can't get over themselves, and whores. It's a very interesting juxtaposition of topics. Arrogant people / sleuts, you know, that's fine. I'll address the easier part first. Whores, whether it's someone who's being paid for having sex or someone who just likes having a lot of promiscuous sex, I am fine with that. Everyone can do whatever they want as long as it's consensual and doesn't like affect anyone negatively in a way that they don't want to be affected negatively. So if somebody wants to get whipped or something and they want to be whipped because they like being in pain or some stuff like that, then go for it as long as it's consensual. I do not care about someone's sexual past, history, or present. Let them do whatever they want. It's not my business to judge. It is their business. And people who can't get over themselves, I know what you mean. I know the kind of person you're talking about. And the best way that I've found to deal with people like that is they're oftentimes talking and just nonstop talking about themselves and just like blowing themselves up and being on a complete ego trip. And the way I've found to combat that is I make a lot of snide remarks, even in conversations with people, just little banter and whatnot. And if you can just make jokes at their expense as they're doing it and as they're talking, it may not be the nicest way to get them to stop and shut the hell up, but it gets them to stop, because suddenly if you interject a joke here that makes fun of them, everyone around is gonna start laughing and they're gonna feel insecure. And then if they keep talking, do it again, until eventually they're gonna think, man, do I want to say this, or do I want to actually, think about what I'm saying and then construct a good sentence and a good point about something, and not just be a miserably annoying braggart for the next, 2 minutes of our conversation where I just monopolize the whole thing. So that's how I feel about that. That's a good way to handle it. But once again, that's all the time that we have for today, which is a complete lie. I could go on all day about this, but people don't tend to like videos that are super long, and that's understandable. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a rating. If you didn't, then tell me to screw off and delete my channel in the comment section, because a little bit of negative aspects in the comment section, that's good too. Keeps me on my toes. So that's the end, and I love you.